If this video has found you, there is a good chance you're looking for something steadier, to find more trust in yourself, or to feel like you don't have to armor up every day just to get through. Today, we are talking about what emotional resilience is and isn't, why it's important, and how we can practice it in our day to day. Then we'll close out with a full guided meditation. Oh, but first, we have to do our intro so our new friends know who we are. If you are interested in mindfulness or healing and practical habits that actually work, you're in the right place. Here at Torches Yoga and Mindfulness, we focus on simple but powerful practices grounded in ancient wisdom and modern science to care for both our brains and bodies. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Oh, and I'm Lauren, your coach. Before we do get started, let's take a moment here just to pause between whatever it was that just happened and our moment here together. Nothing formal or forced. Just take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And with a big sigh, let it out, letting your shoulders soften and your jaw relax. Just notice your body right now. Notice the surface beneath you. My friend, emotional resilience isn't about pushing through. It's about learning how to stay. I think more often than not, we see emotional resilience framed as an ability to bounce back quickly, or always staying positive, never being fazed by anything, or just being seen as strong all the time. But resilience is not emotional suppression or pretending that we're okay when we aren't. Emotional resilience is the capacity to experience stress, grief, disappointment, or failure without abandoning ourselves. It's the ability to feel fully and remain connected to our values, our body, and our sense of agency. And I think this is where a lot of people quietly decide that I'm just bad at resilience. It doesn't mean we never fall apart or we don't struggle, and it definitely doesn't mean we don't need support. Being resilient doesn't look like constant steadiness or emotional mastery. It looks like honesty about where we are at and what's hard. And if you find yourself thinking, I'm weak, why am I breaking down over this? Pause right there. That thought is often not a diagnosis. It's a harsh inner voice trying to explain overwhelm. So before you immediately agree with and identify with that thought, soften. Notice the tone you are using with yourself. Would you speak that way to a friend who is exhausted, grieving, or overwhelmed? Or would you instead slow down, get curious, and offer context? This is where a brief pause matters. When you notice all this happening, it helps to take a deep breath here, in through the nose, and an even deeper exhale out through the mouth. That breath helps bring the prefrontal cortex back online, the part of our brain responsible for perspective, regulation, and choice. And it gets us out of the amygdala. From here, you can take an honest assessment instead of a judgment. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? This asks a real question. What has my system been carrying? We're meant to stay in relationship with ourselves, especially when things feel messy or hard. That's what makes this productive and sustainable. At the center of emotional resilience is self-trust, not confidence or certainty, but trust. Like, I don't think we could ever know how to handle everything that life is ever going to throw at us. But I don't need certainty because I trust that I will handle whatever it is the best I can. That trust, coupled with honest intentions and consistent effort, that's all we can do. When we don't trust ourselves, stress feels threatening, mistakes feel catastrophic, and emotions feel like too much. When self-trust is present, even difficult emotions become information rather than our enemies. And that's where mindfulness skills number 2 and 3, self-compassion and curiosity, come in. That doesn't mean we let ourselves off the hook, but we recognize that being human means making mistakes, having messy emotions, and learning through experiences. Let's say you notice your emotions are really heavy one day or a whole week. Instead of meeting yourself in that state with, "Oh, why are you like this?" or "Why can't you just get over it?" Bring in compassionate curiosity and ask instead, "Where is this showing up in my body? What is it trying to tell me?" This cues to our nervous system it's safe to be and it can wind down. Another important aspect of our emotional resilience is structure in our lives, not like a rigid routine, but a supportive rhythm we move with. Healthy habits and routines act like anchors for our nervous system. They reduce decision fatigue, improve our focus, and provide a predictability that leaves just a few less things uncertain in an uncertain world. Maybe for you, that looks like a consistent morning check in, regular movement, having a set routine at night to wind down, or simple nourishment routines like savoring your first drink of the day or your first bite of every meal. Routine tells our bodies they don't have to be on high alert all the time. The key is resilient people don't rely on motivation, they rely on their relationships with their habits. Gentle, repeating, supportive, and if needed, forgiving. And routine isn't just beneficial for building emotional resilience, it's a good practice to have all around. If you feel like things are just falling apart, out of control, like things just keep happening to you and throwing you for a loop, if you feel just thrown around by life, evaluate your routine and maybe get one locked in. It doesn't make problems go away or fix them, but it puts us in a position to better be able to manage things. Outside of our meditation that we will close today's discussion with, I do have some other practices I want to share with you that you can use in your day-to-day life to build emotional resilience. The first one I want to talk about is a kind of two for one, and it's emotional allowing and labeling. We've talked about labeling before with our thought labeling. Labeling our thoughts and feelings is an incredibly powerful practice. Cognitive labeling creates a distance between us as our identities and the thoughts or feelings that are just passing through our system. Labeling a heavy emotion reduces its grip on us. It reduces anxiety because it helps us recognize worry as mental projections and not reality. And it builds self awareness while training our minds to return to the present moment more quickly, so we lose less time in those spirals. When you notice your mind has wandered, when you find yourself so deep in a spiral, you're like wondering, how did I even get to this thought you're on? Without judgment, acknowledge it. Say, I'm thinking. Then categorize the thought. Like, for instance, if your thought is worry about what could or couldn't happen, label it planning or worrying. If your thoughts are in the past, maybe it's a good memory that you're trying to relive. That's reminiscing. If it's a memory that brings negative thoughts and emotions, that's regret. Labeling your thoughts and emotions isn't dismissing them, it's allowing them. It's addressing them for what they really are. Not our identity and not our reality, but a mental or physiological event that's just passing through our system. And resilience grows when our emotions are allowed to move through us, instead of us resisting them by judging them or ourselves for having them. Next, we want to respond to ourselves and our emotions with some self compassion. As I always say, being compassionate with ourselves doesn't mean we're letting ourselves off the hook. But we don't have to punish ourselves to learn a lesson, get better, or move forward. If you catch your inner voice being mean and harsh, that's your cue to take a deep breath. Consider if you had a close friend or loved one who is experiencing what you are at that time, and ask yourself if you would speak to them the way you are speaking to yourself, or would you have a more gentle approach? If you make a mistake or fall short, if you ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Or why do I always mess up? Those aren't even real questions. They don't have real answers, and they only keep you stuck and cause more frustration. Instead, in those low moments, ask yourself, what do I need right now? This is a supportive question, and it quiets the amygdala and engages our prefrontal cortex. So even amidst the heightened emotion, you'll still be able to access your reasoning and problem solving, letting you be able to handle whatever it is on your plate. All right, emotions essentially start out as physical energy and sensations in our body. So we want to work directly with the body because emotional resilience isn't built in the mind alone. When we are overwhelmed, stressed, or emotionally flooded, the nervous system is driving the experience. Logic and positive thinking can't do much for that state because the body is still interpreting our state as a threat. Body-based regulation helps send the message of safety upward to the brain. And this can be as simple as slowing the breath, grounding your feet to the floor, a gentle stretch, or placing a hand over your heart or abdomen. These small physical cues tell the nervous system we're safe enough right now. One of my go-tos I've shared before is an extended exhale. You don't have to think about the inhale, just exhale everything out until it feels like your lungs are empty. A longer exhale activates our parasympathetic nervous system, shifting us from fight and flight into our rest and regulation. Bringing our attention to our breath while feeling a heavy emotion doesn't push it away, but it creates space for it to move through rather than taking over. Our resilience grows when our bodies learn that strong emotions are survivable and we can stay present while they pass. And lastly, emotional resilience is strengthened through connection. We often get the idea that resilience means we handle everything on our own, but humans are wired for co-regulation. Our nervous systems settle more easily in the presence of safety, understanding, and support. It doesn't mean we have to share everything with everybody, but it does mean we allow ourselves to be seen by trusted people in ways that feel appropriate and safe. Maybe for you, that looks like talking something through with a close friend or a loved one, working with a therapist or coach, sitting quietly beside someone without needing to explain anything, or even just feeling supported through shared experiences like a class, a practice, or a community. When we isolate ourselves during hard moments, the mind tends to amplify threat and self-criticism. Connection helps restore our perspective. It reminds us that struggle is not a personal failure, but a shared human experience. Being resilient doesn't mean proving you can do it all alone. It's about knowing when and how to reach out and trusting that support doesn't make you weaker, it makes you steadier. These practices aren't about doing more or trying harder. They're about responding more wisely. And over time, they build a nervous system that knows how to stay with life, even when it's uncomfortable. Now that we know a little bit more about what emotional resilience really is, what it looks like, and how we can build it with practices, I do have for you a meditation to support you in this part of your practice and path. Of course, I do have some stones, not oils and herbs today. We're going to talk about some, but I have some with me that I would use in my practice if you would like to incorporate them into yours. So first up, I want to talk about is one of my favorites that I carry with me almost daily, and this is a bloodstone. It's a form of jasper that generally has little bits of red or yellow in it, and bloodstone grounds our heart energy and eases aggression and impatience. So it would be a great companion for this practice. And then we have our trusty amethyst. If you're going to get stones to work with for meditation, grab an amethyst first. It's powerful emotional balance. It balances out the highs and the lows and helps dispel rage, fear, and anxiety, and it softens grief. Then we have rose quartz here, another wonderful companion for resilience work, and it pairs quite nicely with amethyst. The rose quartz will bring in soothing energies and help with our self-love and compassion. When we are working with herbs for this purpose, there really are many that would be supportive, whether you are looking for a tea mix or aromatherapy. So we want to look for ones in our stock that are adaptogens. This just means we are looking for herbs that are non-toxic and help our bodies cope with various stressors, whether it's emotion or physical, and they support our overall well-being. Some common ones are ashwagandha, holy basil, lemon balm, and that's one of my favorites. It's great for teas. And passion flower, also another one of my favorites that's great for teas. Chamomile is another one of my go-tos, easily accessible option. It's also categorized as a nervine that interacts with our brain in a similar fashion as anti-anxiety medications by binding with the benzodiazepine receptors in our brain, but it's much more gentle. You can use these herbs in a tea or in their essential oils in an oil diffuser or diluted on your skin. Just a note of caution, if you are interested in working with herbal teas, please make sure to consult with a physician before trying something new if you have an existing condition, because these herbs can interact with pharmaceuticals. All right. Lastly, before we turn to our inner landscapes, I do want to note something. During this guided practice, I will ask you to bring to mind something that was hard or something that stuck with you. If this is your first time practicing something like this, I would recommend choosing something in the middle ground, like don't focus on the toughest thing you've ever had to carry or experienced. Through exploring that, we're going to look into our bodies. And I want to say that if you don't feel any physical sensations, like you're only able to notice the emotion, that is okay. Sometimes, especially if you have been carrying a lot, the connection to our body might feel fuzzy or inaccessible. Practice will help rebuild that connection. But if you don't notice any sensations through those parts of the meditation we're going to do today, you can just stay with your breath, your heart, or the feeling. All right, my friend. If you do need to grab some items or brew a cup of tea, go ahead, hit that pause button, and meet me back here in a comfortable seated or lying down position. All right, friend, as you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze if you are in a safe place to do so. Take a long, deep inhale through the nose and exhale even longer, releasing from your mind the previous events of the day or week. And one more deep inhale, drawing in your intentions for your practice today. And exhale, sending out any judgments of your feelings and emotions. Let your breath return to its natural rhythm, keeping your attention with it for a couple of rounds. Let your awareness drop from your mind, the thoughts, the wondering, and come into your body, noticing the rise and fall, the subtle movement of air. With each exhale, let a part of your body relax. Relax your brow and jaw. If you notice any tension along the way, simply acknowledge it. With each passing exhale, relax and allow a sense of letting go to emerge. Relax your shoulders, chest, abdomen, and hands. No fixing or forcing. Relax your lower back, hips, thighs, and knees. Relax your feet. Just like our breath, calm isn't something we have to force. We just have to allow it to return. As our mind and body flow into a state of tranquility, here is where we can allow ourselves to move into contemplation. Consider that your life situation is always in a state of change, new challenges and new choices for us to navigate and learn from. In this moment, we can choose to see our life and our life situation that surrounds us as two different things. When we are calm and relaxed, we are better able to frame our perspectives in a positive way, and we can more easily make decisions with clarity instead of reactivity. As the relaxation fully settles in, Take a moment to acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge yourself for showing up today, for being here for yourself, and even just notice how nice it feels in your body to intentionally let it relax. Feel the stillness and peace in your body. Acknowledge that you can stay connected with your body and your values, and we can learn to soothe ourselves and not be carried away by negativity that an experience may provoke. I invite you now to bring your attention to your heart center. Imagine your beating heart safely tucked behind your ribs. Notice a soft, warm glow radiating from the center. This is the light of the heart, the place where emotions, memories, and deep wisdom reside. With each inhale, imagine the light growing, spreading, and spilling through your entire being, warm, grounding, and supportive. Bring to mind something that still lingers with you, a feeling that creeps in unprovoked. Maybe no situation comes to mind, but a feeling comes without a story. Maybe you reacted when you meant to pause. Maybe you froze when you thought you should have acted. Maybe their betrayal, neglect, or judgment still has a grip on you. Maybe it's just stuck with you, hanging in your chest. You don't need to relive it. You don't have to hold space in your body for it. Just bring it into the room with you. Let it be near enough to work with, but not so close that it takes over. If it helps, you can even imagine it sitting over there in the corner, acknowledged, but not running the show. Begin to describe this hurt, this feeling, this emotion. Instead of repeating the story and repeating any thoughts or judgments about it, just describe it. List the events or the emotion's characteristics. Maybe there was an argument or a silence. Maybe there is grief or fear. Without fixing or changing anything, notice if this emotion brings with it any sensation to the body. Maybe it brings sensations of heat, heaviness, sharpness. Scan your whole self. Does it bring a shortened breath or clenched jaw? A tightening in your throat? Don't try to fix them or force them to relax. Recognize that these are indicators. They are messages. Instead, if reachable, place a hand over the area where the sensation is most present and tell this feeling, I see you. I am here with you. Acknowledge out loud or to yourself, this is here. I am allowed to feel this. Notice again the rise and fall of your breath, and imagine it moving toward the area where the sensation is present. Each inhale creating space, creating room for movement. With your hand still over the sensation or your heart center, repeat quietly, I am capable of meeting this moment. I do not have to do this perfectly. I love and accept myself, and I will accept my lessons with gratitude. I kindly forgive others for their mistakes as they are on their own journey like me. I understand that their actions are not about me. Notice the energy of the emotion along with the sensations. Allow it to be released in any way that feels right for you. Maybe tears come. Maybe you need to move a bit and adjust in your seat. Or maybe a sound like a sigh or caring words. Now, friend, imagine yourself rooted like a tree. Wind may move the branches, but your roots remain steady. With each breath, feel those roots deepen, anchoring you. If thoughts arrive, acknowledge them and gently return to your breath, letting the thoughts pass. Spend a few moments here, allowing, trusting, and breathing. With each inhale, draw in openness and support. In each exhale, find softness and release. If the feeling has shifted or the sensation changed any, imagine any residue of that feeling loosening its grip and flowing down to your roots, down and beyond into the support and earth beneath you. If the recalled experience and emotion is still lingering, let it know you are not done with it, but this is the time we have for it today. Maybe schedule another visit, letting it know you will return to sit with it again. If your system still feels activated by the memory, I invite you now to bring something to mind that anchors you, that calms you, that regulates you. Maybe that's a partner, a pet, a craft, or a practice. Staying in your comfortable position, adjusting as needed. I ask you now to tighten and tense your shoulders. Hold them tense and squeeze, 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 and release. Moving down your arms, tighten and tense your upper arm. Squeeze, 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 and release. Now your forearm, squeeze, 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 and release. Your hands, pushing or pressing into the palms or making fists, squeeze, 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 and release. Friend, I invite you now for a moment to bring your attention back to the rhythm of your breath. Notice the support beneath you and how your body rests upon it. Feel your presence taking up space. Take a couple deep inhales, drawing in space and compassion, resilient like a mountain. Notice the temperature of the room you are in upon your skin. Before we fully return, take a moment to share some gratitude with yourself. Thank yourself for showing up today, for your support. Thank your body for carrying you through this experience. As you're ready, let's welcome little movements back into the body with little wiggles in the fingers and toes, elbows and knees. Maybe a couple turns of the head if it feels right. One more deep inhale, then let your breath come back to its natural flow. Flutter your eyes open or blink them back into focus to rejoin me back in our space. Welcome back, friend. How was that meditation practice for you? This work isn't easy. It takes strength, it takes patience, and it takes compassion. You have all that within you, and you are worth the time and energy it takes to properly heal. If journaling is a part of your practice, and really, even if not, I do strongly recommend taking this experience to pen and paper and writing out what came up for you, what you felt, and how it changed if it did. And remember, this isn't a one and done practice. This is a practice to visit time and time again. You may even need to sit with the same emotion or experience a couple of times before it really starts to let go. But each time you sit with it, you build trust in yourself. You show up for yourself in a way that says, I can trust that I can and will handle things. Emotional resilience isn't about never breaking. It's about learning how to come back to ourselves again and again. Friend, thank you for allowing me to guide you in your practice today. Stay present, stay kind to yourself, and I will see you soon.